Hey, currently at 128K a month in profit. I want to hit 167K a month. This is basically a day by day breakdown of how I'm doing it. So the unfortunate issue that I was just having with, OBS Studio and all that stuff in general, let me just turn off all of my Apple Music here, was I just recorded this video twice and neither of them worked. It was like 25 minutes each. And just because I'm a little low on time, this one's going to have to be a lot shorter than the previous two. So just my own issue with hotkeys and stuff like that. Let me just give you guys a brief breakdown of where this is going to go. First, I'm going to answer some Q&A. I'm going to answer Q&A from a guy called Paul who left a comment on my community right over here. Then I'll answer another question from my main man, Eugene, who left, I guess, a few questions over here. I'm going to not give you guys the whole thought process behind it, just because I've already answered it, kind of wrote it out there. So we'll answer these really reasonably quickly. And then from there, I'm just going to show you guys the brand stats. And I also did some brainstorming of my tasks for today, which include uses for ON Pro, how to answer questions using ON Pro, how to do some Instagram top of funnel optimization. This is basically just going to be a quick little recap video though, because I just don't have the time to do any more. But me having a streak is really important. I use streaks as part of my habits and accountability, and I really want to keep the streak going for daily updates. So, okay, great. With that being said, let's jump into the Q&A. My first question was from Paul. He says, "Hey Nick, really love these videos. One question while you're doing these Q&As, is it smart to operate on only a pay per results pricing model when selling AI cold email systems for B2B with low to no testimonials?" And I could tell my OBS is not working again for some weird reason, so I need to reset it. There we go. I'm not letting you get me this time, OBS. He says, "One question while you're doing these Q&As, is it smart to operate on only a pay-per-results pricing model when selling these cold email systems for B2B? With low to no testimonials, not sure to be a good move for me to charge an upfront fee. I assume that's fine, however, to have them pay for software costs like Instantly, AMF, and Email Finder, etc. Appreciate you, man." So here's the unfortunate thing, Paul. You are currently phrasing things like they're black or white, okay? Let me make this abundantly clear. There's really no black or white in business, or at least not the businesses that I've started. So there's no absolute truths. There's no yes or no. Really what you have is you have a bunch of different shades of gray, okay? You might have black over here and then over here. Yeah, I don't know. This is me trying to do shades of gray. But the point I'm making is you have a ton of options in between black or white. You're framing this as an all or none. Am I going pay per lead or not? Let me run you through my logic here. The very first time I answered this question, essentially, let's pretend that you're selling your cold email thing for $1,432. Okay, it's an upfront fee, and then everything after that is PPL, pay per lead. $1,432 is your guarantee period, and then everything else is just like, hey, I get you 20 leads a month times $100 a lead. That's $2,000. Okay. So if you're with me now, let's say you generate 100 of these leads. Previously, your funnel basically looked like this. It was a square. So if 100 leads come in, okay, and then, you offer your pay per lead model, maybe let's say 20% say yes. Okay. So what does that mean? That means that you get 20 yeses, you get 80 no's. This is kind of how you're thinking of constructing this. How you should really be constructing this is more like the funnels of old, where you actually have, multiple tiers. Okay. So tier one would be upfront. So $1,432. Let's say, I'm just pulling numbers out of my ass here. But this is the upfront cost. The second might be free upfront, but pay per lead. The third might be some sort of consulting offer. Okay. Which maybe it's free and you do it in exchange for testimonial. Okay. So now if you think about it, we have 100 leads coming through the top. Maybe, I don't know, 5% of them say yes to this one. Okay. That means that you now have 5 clients for a paid offer. Of the ones that say no, there's 95 remaining, right? So of that, maybe 10% say yes to your PPL offer. So now you have 5 not 5. What's 10% of 95? You have 9.5 technically. So let's just say 10. So you have 10 PPL clients. And then let's say, 20% of the remaining leads, which if you're thinking 5 times, that's 85 times 20. Now you have 17 testimonials. Free consulting offer in exchange for a testimonial. Maybe you give them some lead magnet. Maybe you give them some free thing, some audit. I don't know, whatever the hell you want to do. But I'm just trying to give you some top-down level strategy If you go black or white, you basically waste all the leads that, make it through this. And then if you don't, that don't make it through this. And then if you go a little bit more shades of gray, you kind of have like tiered systems. First, I offer this. If that doesn't work, then I offer that. Then if that doesn't work, then I offer that. And then if that doesn't work, I offer that. The reason in doing this strategy is because when you buy a lead, when you get a lead, you're basically buying a lead. Okay, that's just how it works. You're buying leads in terms of your time that you're spending to talk to them and acquire them, the money that you're spending on the software platforms. Okay, because you've already spent, let's say, $30 on a lead, you might as well recoup as much of the $30 as you can. So if you have an option of making, I don't know, $50 per lead, and you buy for 30 and you get 50, that's a pretty low return on time, right? But if you add like a funnel where you get people that might have said no to some further up thing, but then they say yes to the other stuff, well, now your actual value per lead is probably more like, this is your way, this is my way. Now your actual value might be like $300 per lead. So look for other things. Don't just look for monetary exchanges of time and money. Look for a variety of other things. So that's the first answer to Paul. I hope that makes sense. Let me answer Eugene's question. He said that you said that you respond to everything. Did I actually say that? If so, that's not true. I'm not going to respond to like everything. Quite quickly, I'm going to get like 5, 10, 15, 20 questions a day on this channel. But I'm just going to pick like the one that I think has the most value to people and answer that. Anyway, the biggest one-time contract you sold, what was it? It was like mid $20,000. I'm assuming you're not talking retainers, by the way. If we count like a retainer, it's well over 200 grand. One of my first retainers that I sold for, I think it was a couple $1,000s, morphed into over $4,000 a month, which morphed into $6,000 a month. And they've been with me for a very, very long time. Eventually I upsold them to like a partnership type deal, well over 200 grand at this point. So, but if you just want a one-time project, it was basically, it was like Uber for lumpers. If you don't know lumpers, basically like when a ship makes it to port, you know how there are usually those big robot arms that go and pick up the shipping container and then like drop them on land, and that's how they do the loading and unloading. Well, lumpers are for smaller ships usually that don't have the infrastructure or the ports really, their protocols or whatever to do that, where it's just like people that are loading and unloading. So we call those people lumpers. And this was brought to me by my business partner at the time with Left Click. We built out basically like the Uber for lumpers. We built out a system that enabled people to sign up as companies that looked for lumpers. Then we allowed individuals that were lumpers to look for companies and bid on jobs and all that stuff. It was not worth the time. We made like mid $20,000 on that. And it was just a total pain in my ass. So it was one of the very first projects that we sold, hence why I took on a custom project. But looking back, not the sort of thing that I would recommend anybody do more than once. Do these custom projects like a couple times at the start line of your business. Don't do them after that because there's just no ROI on your time. Like my hourly rate there is probably like $50 or something. What you want to do is immediately after I did that, I did a project that did not deliver me anywhere near as much upfront revenue, but it delivered me a crazy return on investment, on my time. It was a project for a proposal generator system, and it paid me like $1,500, and I spent a total of like 8 minutes on it. 8 minutes on the actual fulfillment, something like that anyway. Less than 10 minutes, maybe it was 5, I don't know. I just copied my make blueprint for the exact same system. Then I used the username and password that the clients had given me on the kickoff call to connect to their instance. They wanted almost the exact same proposal template, one modification, but they'd actually gone in and already created the thing with the variables, which is incredible. So all I did was I swapped a couple of variables and then did the connections. Then I pressed start and then it worked. I had to do the typeform duplicate as well. And then it worked. So 5 to 10 minutes, $1,500. Do the math on that. This isn't taking into account the time I spent selling them, obviously, which was about half an hour. The time I spent on the kickoff call, obviously, which is another half an hour. But that's like the biggest one-time contract I think I've really ever sold. And that's the way that I look at things. That's what unlocked the whole leverage idea for me. It's like, I could make $25,000 in revenue in month 1 with some big business that sells me this big custom project. Or I could have all these templates and then just sell the need and then just offer my services and say, oh, let me build this thing out for you. And then spend 5 minutes just copying a template I've already built. That's how you make money. Okay, how many genuine agency requests I get per month? I counted, it was about 10 last time I answered this question. So about 10 per month on average. It's obviously gone up over time, but yeah, about 10 that actually invest 5K plus. Most of the ones that do, they don't just invest 5K or they don't want to invest 5K. They want to invest a lot more, like 15K, 20K. They want to work with me on my 3-month subscription purchase at $5,900 per month. So that's $17,700 right up front. I'm not saying yes to all these because I have yet to work out my agency dynamics. I'm gonna figure that out soon. If you pick top 4 niches of the businesses that reach out to you, what are they? I mean, what businesses reach out to you the most? It was financial technology, it was software, it was like some sort of financing or investing. But basically, my last outreach was, I think it was this guy, Peter, or maybe Paul, I don't know. But he ran some, it was like an investing, I actually don't really entirely know, to be honest. It was like okay, they do underwriting for companies that are looking for investments, and they have to do like automated, or right now they're doing manual checks of the financing of the company and like the financials and the various points. So the profitability, PDE, all that fun stuff, and then they manually determine whether or not they're capable of financing this business or whether it's a good investment. And this is now just going to be like a Bloomberg API hit where I just get all those financials, and then assuming that that works, then we can, I don't know, pass that through some natural language model to reply to the emails. So that's a good example of the sort of business that reaches out to me. It's usually where like there's a single person that has massive leverage, makes several $1,000,000 a year, just sitting on their ass and, fiddling with their fingers, kind of like me, that likes what they saw on my YouTube channel and says, you know what, that's a good guy to work with. I don't even know if I have a project for him, but I just want to get in touch with him and have him run through my processes. That's the sort of business that reaches out to me the most. So yeah, industries tend to be high earning industries, fintech, SaaS. I had this guy that like installed power grids or was responsible for doing the deals, like finding the people and the big plots of land to like install power grids. And then he would get a cut of like several $100 million projects, usually 1% or 2%, that reach out to me as well. That sort of stuff. I took this question to mean like, how much money did I make for my agency? If you want to get all the financials and stuff, I did do that. One of my first videos, I like broke it down line item by line item. Right now I'm making about $25K a month for my agency. I made $128K in profit, right? So if you do the math, it's about 20%. I make about 20% of all of my income from the agency. Important thing to realize there is it's not just about the monthly profit that you make from the agency versus your other things. You should look more at the enterprise value potential. So there are many approaches to wealth. One of them is building enterprise value in a vehicle that you could sell. So you can't really sell an info product. Well, at least my info product. Why? Because it's Nick Saraev's info product. So when people sign up to my info product, they do so because they like me, they know me, they hear my voice, they like what I have to say. If you were to try and sell my business to somebody else, logically, how would they continue on what I've built? Like it would be really jarring for most people. You probably have massive churn and the business would shrink to like some small fraction of what it was when I was operating it, right? So there's a trade-off between like near-term income and then long-term like enterprise value potential. Agencies are a way to build a team and have like a system that functions independently of you. Whereas even if I'm the main lead generation thing, like let's say we work out like an ad funnel that works or something that doesn't necessarily require me. Well, now we have all the infrastructure necessary. If somebody has a lead generation system that works, maybe another brand they just slot in and then it's, pound for pound the same thing. That allows me to sell this thing. The thing is the enterprise value of agencies aren't very high. Sorry for clearing my nose and so I'm just sick as hell. The enterprise value of agencies aren't very high. You have very low multiples. So I was also giving you an alternative that you could do if you wanted to take the same approach where you build a SaaS company, basically software as a service. This is what the Instantly guys did, if you're familiar. They basically were running a really profitable agency and everything was great. And then they're like, wait a second, we want even more enterprise value. How do we get even more enterprise value? Well, a quick and easy way is building a SaaS product where you could sell the multiples are so much higher on SaaS because it's like a pre-existing thing. It's not attached to any particular person and the infrastructure is smooth as hell. Margins are really good. So I plotted SaaS growth over time like this. First, like 90%, you're making no money. And then the last 10%, you're going unicorn status. I then plotted agency stuff like this. First, 10%, you make a fair amount of money, then you tend to plateau until you figure out management. Then I kind of plotted, this is me just pulling stuff out of my ass. I kind of plotted my own info product growth right over here, where it was like, oh, they're making a lot of money. All right, kind of slowing down. Oh, I'm making even more. And these are sort of like tranches up. So I hope that answers your question, my man. I'm not trying to reach 200K, just to be clear. I want to hit 167K a month is my near-term goal, which is $2 million a year in profit. Do I feel like I'll scale significantly past that selling shovels? Yeah. Well, I'm developing more products. I don't just want to have like a make money product like my communities. because I don't think that has anywhere near the longevity. What I want is I want there to be templates as well. So if you check my previous few videos, I've just been chatting a lot about like the templates I'm going to be producing, how I'm going to do it, and stuff like that. So yeah, they're basically going to be done for you templates essentially, that you'll be able to buy if you want to like install one of these systems in your business. There'll be some done with you services as well for sure. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, I'm planning on continuing to scale the agency. The reason why I'm still operating an agency, despite the fact that every time I click the content button, I make more money than every time I click the agency button, is for enterprise value reasons. And two, I never want to get disconnected from the thing that I'm showing people. I think the biggest issue in the coaching space is when somebody finds a system that works, they will abandon that system and start teaching people how to use it instead. And then within a year, that system becomes outdated. And now they're teaching people outdated, silly bullshit that doesn't work, right? So back in February of 2024, I went to Isla Mujeres, which is an island off the coast of east coast of Mexico, with one of my best friends, Zach. And we woke up every morning and meandered our ways down to the beach and swung about on hammocks. And we just talked about like the sort of businesses we wanted to run. And we dealt with this back then before I even started my YouTube. Whatever coaching or teaching or community product or whatever the hell it is that teaches people how to do a thing, in order for that to be an ethical and successful business, you must never stop doing the thing. So I'm always going to be doing some sort of service implementation just to get ahead of that. And because I feel like if you don't, then your stuff becomes out of date. Kind of defeats the purpose. Sure, it's a little bit more work for me right now, and I'm not making as high of a multiple as if I spent that time on just pure coaching. But I'm in it for the long haul. I'm building a strong, positive brand reputation. So yeah, that's the answer to that. And then yeah, ladies and gentlemen, apologies, but I got to get out of here. I did a bunch of brainstorming for O1 Pro. I'm paying $200 a month for some really expensive ass fancy open ammo. I'm just finding I'm not using it. So I wrote down just some brainstorming and how I was going to save myself about an hour a day. Then I talked a little bit about like Instagram top of funnel math for a retargeting ad that I was going to do. But yeah, the third time around recording the video, I just don't really have the wherewithal to repeat all this again. And then I also have to jump on a call pretty quickly for one of my clients. Really appreciate the time. That's it for today. I'll check in with you all tomorrow on progress and all this stuff. Cheers.